One win. That's all that stands between Eala and a moment no Filipino tennis player has ever touched. Not a semifinal, not a comeback, a championship. And right now, in Washington, D.C., that dream is sitting on pause, frozen by rain, waiting to be finished. Here's where things stand. 21-year-old Eala, the left-handed sensation from Quezon City, has spent the last week tearing through the toughest draw of her career at the Mubadala DC Open. She didn't sneak into the final through a soft bracket. She fought through it, opponent by opponent, each one more dangerous than the last. It started in the first round against Zheng Qinwen, an Olympic gold medalist. Eala dropped the opening set 4-6, then found her footing, taking the second 6-4 before pulling away completely in the third to close it out 6-1. Next came Leylah Fernandez, the tournament's defending champion, a player who knew exactly what it took to lift this trophy. Eala took the first set comfortably, 6-2, then had to survive a tense second set, eventually closing it out in a tiebreak to finish the job. Then came Elena Svitolina, a former world number 10 seeded second in the draw and one of the most experienced competitors on tour. Eala handled her in 2 tight sets, 6-3, 6-4, breaking serve when it mattered and never letting the match slip out of her control. And in the semifinal, she walked onto the court against Naomi Osaka, a 4-time Grand Slam champion and former world number 1, someone who has stood at the very top of the sport. Eala beat her in straight sets 2, 6-4, 6-2, in just over an hour, and afterward admitted the entire draw had felt stacked with big names from the very first round, which made reaching the final feel even more meaningful to her. 4 wins, 4 different styles of danger. And through every one of them, a nation back home kept adjusting its clocks, its work shifts, its sleep, just to watch. That's what set up Sunday's final against Jessica Pegula, the tournament's top seed and the current world number 3. This wasn't a stranger across the net. Pegula had already beaten Eala once before, in a brutal 3-set battle at the Miami Open in 2025 that ended Eala's first Real breakout run. Pegula also has history with this exact tournament. She won her first career WTA title right here in Washington back in 2019, and she came into this final chasing her 3rd trophy of the season and the 12th singles title of her career. Before the match, Pegula didn't downplay the challenge in front of her. She made it clear she saw Eala as a serious threat, someone who represents where the sport is heading. That respect showed up the moment the match finally began, hours late, after thunderstorms forced organizers to push the start back most of the afternoon. When play got underway, Pegula came out sharp. She broke Eala's serve, then had to save a pair of break points of her own while trying to close out the set, escaping trouble with an ace and some clutch shot-making at 4-all. She held again to take the opening set 6-4 in just 40 minutes. It was tight, physical tennis, with Pegula's experience showing in the biggest moments. Eala didn't fold. She came out for the second set and matched Pegula game for game, holding her own serve twice without facing a single break point and pushing ahead 2-1. For a few minutes, it looked like the momentum might be swinging back her way. And then the sky opened again. Rain rolled back into Washington right at the changeover, and this time it didn't let up. Organizers waited. They tried to dry the court. They pushed the restart back again and again, hour after hour, until finally, well into the night, they made the call. The final would not finish on Sunday. Play was suspended with Pegula leading 6-4, 2-1, the match still very much alive, still very much undecided. In the 53 minutes of tennis they actually managed to play, Pegula had already landed 14 clean winners to Eala's 4, even though both players matched each other with 20 unforced errors apiece. It was a reminder of just how fine the margins are at this level and how much tennis was still left to be settled. So here's where we actually are. Eala has already rewritten her own career this week. This is only her 2nd WTA Tour final, and her first ever at this 500 level after a heartbreaking loss in her first attempt at Eastbourne back in 2025. But regardless of how this final ends, she's guaranteed to rise to a new career high ranking, climbing into the top 25 in the world for the first time in her life. If she completes the comeback and wins the title, that jump gets even bigger. The tournament put more than $1.6 million in total prize money on the line this week, and the runner-up prize alone, over $155,000, would already be one of the biggest paydays of her career. Win it outright, and the champion's check climbs to $252,000, on top of the biggest ranking leap of her life. But none of that is decided yet. Right now, a nation of over 100 million people is holding its breath, waiting for a rain delay to end. Filipino fans packed the stands all week, chanting her name, turning a tennis stadium in the American capital into something that felt like home. Overseas workers rearranged their schedules just to catch her matches live, in the middle of their own nights. That kind of support doesn't happen for just anyone. It happens for someone people believe is about to make history. Eala has said this run has meant everything to her, that walking into a draw stacked with major champions and coming out the other side in the final is something she'll carry with her regardless of what happens next. That mindset, staying grounded, staying grateful, even in the middle of the biggest week of her career, is part of why so many people are rooting for her. The match resumes today. Pegula needs one more game to force a decider, or she closes out the second set and the title in one more push. Eala needs to complete the break back, level things up, and drag this into a third set where anything can happen. Whatever happens next, this week has already proven something. Eala isn't a surprise anymore. She's not an underdog sneaking through weak draws. She just beat an Olympic champion, a defending champion, a former top 10 player, and a 4-time Grand Slam winner, back-to-back to back-to-back, to get here. Win or lose today, that run belongs to her, and it belongs to every Filipino who stayed up late this week just to watch a girl from Quezon City chase something no one from her country has ever touched before. The rain will clear. The court will dry. And somewhere in Washington, D.C., in front of a crowd that traveled across an ocean to be there, the story is about to get its ending.